search dogs, their training and use in the English Lake District. A promotional film by the Search and Rescue Dog Association, English Lake District. Many visitors to the Lake District go walking to enjoy the fresh air, the exercise and the views. Of course, that assumes that the weather is good, but good or bad weather, accidents can happen. Sometimes people are injured, sometimes they get lost. If their location is known, the rescue teams will treat and evacuate them quickly and efficiently. If their position is not known, then they must be found quickly before they can come to further harm. Searching for missing walkers or climbers is a chancy business. Teams deploy their members to search footpaths, lines of descent, and known accident black spots. But if the weather is bad, at night, or if the casualty is unconscious, they may not be easily found. A recent review of mountain rescue in the Lake District stated that such is the effectiveness of search dogs and handlers in the location of casualties that any team leader who did not consider using dogs, if they were available, may be considered negligent by his colleagues. Dogs are uniquely suited to the work. Their agility, hunting and scenting abilities can be harnessed with suitable training to make them a valued resource for deployment on searches. SARDA Lakes require that all dogs are obedient and safe to work in the vicinity of livestock. Obedience to ensure the dog will search where the handler requires and remain out of the way when a casualty is found, in order that the handler may assess their injuries. And safe with stock, because it is essential we retain the goodwill of the farming community if we are to train and operate effectively. Obedience and stock tests are carried out regularly by assessors appointed by the association and by farmers whose skills in the field of dog training are recognised by the farming community. Having passed these initial tests, training must begin in earnest. Let's look at what we're trying to achieve. Every person has a scent which they emanate into the air around them. This is not BO or Chanel No. 5, but a scent unique to themselves. Every bit as unique as a fingerprint. This scent travels on the wind, spreading out as it goes. The dog is trained to locate the scent cone, follow it to its source, and bark to indicate the find, then return to the handler, indicate again by barking that the casualty has been found, and lead the handler to that location. The training of the dog to find people is to the dog a game. The dog must be keen on the game and eager to play. Training starts with the dog, handler, and a familiar friend who plays the part of the casualty or body, as we call them. The body excites the dog, using a favourite toy or food that the dog loves. The body then runs away from the dog, taking the favourite food with him. The dog's whole attention is focused on the body, while being restrained by the handler. After about 100 metres, the body disappears from the dog's view and lies in a position where the dog will be able to locate the food when it finds him. The handler then releases the dog, giving it the command to find, and the dog runs along the scent line and finds the body. The handler does not accompany the dog. On arrival at the body, the dog immediately wants the food but is not given it. Frustrated, the dog begins to bark. Still not receiving the food, frustration drives the dog to seek reinforcements in the shape of the handler. So the dog returns to the handler and reports the problem again by barking, then leads the handler to the location of the body. Finally, the dog receives the reward and is praised. This is the find sequence essential to the basic aim of a search dog, and is firmly entrenched in the dog's mind by repetition. In subsequent training, the dog will develop the concentration needed to search for hours before finding the body, but will always respond automatically to signal a successful find in this way. Eventually, dog and handler will be able to search large areas quickly and efficiently, and will be required to demonstrate their abilities to assessors from SARDA Lakes and our sister associations in England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. Assessments are designed to test the abilities of dog and handler prior to their inclusion on the call-out list. Bodies, all experienced mountaineers, are briefed by the assessors before being sent to pre-selected locations. These locations are selected to ensure the dog will have to persist in their task in order to achieve their goal. The body will climb into location by a route designed to minimize the chances of a dog finding the ground trail and make himself comfortable for what could be a long wait. Progress of the body during the walk-in and precise location of the body will be closely monitored by the assessors. Once the body is in position, the handler is briefed by the assessor on the area to be searched. No information on location or number of bodies is given. The handler is then required to give the assessor an outline of his search plan, and this will be critically assessed as the search progresses. Deviations from this search plan must be explained by the handler on completion of the search. On entering the search area, the handler begins to monitor wind direction and the effect of surface features on his search strategy. In this case, the wind is blowing from bottom right to top left of the area. The handler has decided to send the dog up the left-hand boundary of the area, across the scree and down the right-hand boundary in order to give the dog the best chance of locating any scent. The dog works higher and contours in the cloud, testing the air for scent as he goes. As he works down through the small crags, he locates the scent, and his body language changes as he follows it toward the location of the body. On arrival at that location, he must decide for himself to return to the handler, and his willingness to do so and to bark at the body's location will be assessed. The dog then returns to the handler and indicates the find by barking before leading the handler to the body's location. Unfortunately, handlers are not as agile as the dogs and require frequent urging to hurry. When the handler arrives at the body, he will assess the body's condition and report this to the assessors. It is not considered good practice to allow our bodies to become real casualties, as this can render them unavailable for future training. Graded search dogs and handlers must maintain their standards throughout their working lives and are continuously reassessed to ensure this is so. Search dog Locke, seen here with handler Dave Riley of Langdale Ambleside Mountain Rescue Team, is a veteran of over 200 searches and attended the San Salvador earthquake and the Lockerbie disaster. Her friend Bess is a much younger dog, just starting her career at 4 years old. Her handler is Keith Warwick of Furness Mountain Rescue Team. Both work hard at their training as well as attending call-outs. But training does not finish here. SARDA Lakes runs an annual winter course to allow dogs and handlers to train in the location of casualties buried in deep snow. This course is held in the Cairngorms to ensure typically severe weather conditions are encountered, and we are seldom disappointed. Volunteer bodies are still used, but this time we bury them in graves up to 3 meters deep. After briefing, the body enters the grave. It is essential they are not prone to claustrophobia. The body is then buried alive. Radio contact is established to ensure they can call for help if necessary, and their location is carefully noted. We haven't lost one yet. Dog and handler then search for the buried body, the dog locating airborne scent percolating to the surface and being carried on the wind. Indication is by barking at the body location and at the handler. Then the dog is encouraged to dig. The handler will help him in this task and allow the dog to enter the excavation. The dog confirms the location of the body and the indication is repeated. Finally, the body is recovered safely and the dog is praised. Almost all incidents attended by SARDA Lakes dogs begin in the late evening, when walkers or climbers fail to return from their expedition. There is often little firm knowledge of their intended route, and frequently the weather is bad. People seldom get lost on a warm sunny day. It is essential, therefore, that dogs and handlers are trained and equipped to handle themselves safely in adverse conditions. In the last 3 years, SARDA Lakes dogs have attended over 70 incidents, locating over 30 missing people. They are being increasingly used by the police to search for missing people in domestic situations. SARDA dogs were also used to locate victims of the Lockerbie disaster. And SARDA Lakes now provide basic training for qualified search dogs in building an aircraft search. Handler Keith Warwick and search dog Bess are seen here training in a disused building, developing their abilities to search in this environment. The dog is now required to work closer to the handler, ignoring other activities going on around her, but the means of the location and of indication is essentially the same. SARDA Lakes is a registered charity dedicated to the training and use of dogs to locate missing or injured people. Our search dogs and handlers are available to assist the police and mountain rescue teams at any time